You've got a proposal meeting with a key client on the books. In your one-on-one, your manager tells you they plan on attending. How does that make you feel? Hopefully reassured because your manager is amazing and can help you navigate the meeting and client concerns. What about if your manager isn't amazing? The feeling likely turns to one of panic, knowing they will add little value and likely poke holes in everything you said or presented when the meeting is over. The greatest threat to your pipeline isn't failing on a deal. It's the paralyzing, career-stalling fear of looking bad in front of your manager. The standard corporate playbook demands zero errors and perfect execution. This hustle culture noise forces reps to play it safe, hide their missteps, and live in fear just to avoid a manager's wrath. Safe selling is dead selling. Welcome to Sales Zen, the podcast for media and ad tech sales professionals who are tired of the never-ending numbers game. We drop the hustle culture noise to talk about what it actually takes to build a high-performing sales career, master AI transformation, and separate from outcomes without sacrificing your authentic self. If you're new here, hi, I'm Kevin Curry. I've spent 30 years in media and ad tech sales, moving from individual contributor to leadership at companies like Meta, Yelp, and in the NFL with the Detroit Lions. I hold Gen AI certifications from both Google and Stanford University, but my focus isn't on the technology. It's on the human being using it. I work directly with ad sales teams, leaders, and reps to master client psychology, up-level sales skills, and navigate career growth by leveraging AI and communication skills to achieve authentic alignment and true sales zen. Middle management often manages through anxiety, demanding flawless execution. This breeds a culture of safe mediocrity. The reality? Enterprise buyers can smell fear, desperate compliance, and polished BS from a mile away. The automated seller hides behind AI-generated fluff, points fingers when campaigns underperform, and goes dark when they make a mistake because they are terrified of internal blowback. The authentically aligned partner owns their humanity. They lean into the friction, openly admit when they've missed the mark, and use failure as a trust-building mechanism with the buyer. Earlier in my career, I led a sales team at a media startup. I reported to the CEO, who was a hothead. He would yell and scream if things didn't go the way he planned. While I spent the majority of my time in his office instead of working with my team, every week we had a meeting on the books to review revenue against specific products. I would prepare the weekly report to show trends, successes, and the gaps to plan. Most weeks I would go into the meeting feeling confident. After an hour of being berated and screamed at, I left feeling deflated and pissed off. One week while pulling the numbers, I realized the goal we had for a specific ad unit was significantly higher than the inventory we had to monetize. I jumped into the math, but my CEO ignored me. I continued to explain why we literally couldn't hit the goal without creating more inventory. He continued to act like he had no idea what I was talking about and leaned even harder on how I wasn't doing a good job getting the team to hit our goals. Maybe it's because I'm sitting in your office all day getting yelled at instead of working with the team, but that's a completely different point. The reality was he didn't want to own his mistake. That would mean admitting he wasn't perfect, having to rebuild the budget, and likely would shine a light on the fact there were other holes in his plan. He wasn't the founder, and the company was being funded by a larger established media company. His risk of owning a mistake wasn't as big as others in his position. It was during that meeting that I realized I needed to put a full court press on finding a new job. I hadn't been happy for a while, but his lack of honesty around a mistake he made gave me a chance to look in the mirror. I was afraid of making a mistake because he wouldn't allow for that. I spent sleepless nights, not thinking about how I could be a better leader for my team, but instead I was playing scared. If you find yourself in a position where everything you say is being scrutinized for errors, it's time to find something else. As sellers, we need to give our best to our clients and our company. But if the internal vibe is never to make a mistake, it's likely holding you back. The perfection culture is putting unneeded pressure on you. When a mistake happens, the immediate reaction is emotional panic. Here's how you can use AI when you make a mistake. Use the RIGS framework, role, instruction, guardrail, specifics, to let the AI handle the sterile, objective analysis of the failure. Use RIGS to feed the AI your meeting notes or emails or the botched deal. Instruct it to strip away the emotion and identify the exact moment the alignment broke down. By offloading the heavy lifting of why it failed, you bypass the shame spiral. You protect your premium mental energy, allowing you to regulate your nervous system and re-engage the client and your manager with strategic clarity instead of defensive panic. In addition to AI, here's 3 things you can do immediately. First, as soon as you realize you made a mistake, own it in front of the client, in front of your manager. Be uncomfortable. That fast transparency instantly disarms buyer friction. Second, stop viewing lost deals or botched meetings as a strike against you or your worth. Treat failure strictly as high signal intelligence gathering for your next at bat. And finally, shift the internal conversation immediately from fault, who screwed up, to fix. Here's the exact pivot we're going to execute on today. In business, shit trickles downhill, and for whatever reason, we salespeople are at the bottom. In a more recent role, I was leading a sales team at a company that viewed salespeople and frontline managers as people who could do nothing right. Our sales support team took every opportunity to point out where sales failed. Senior leadership spent hours every week sending panicked emails, filling calendars with meetings, and pointing out every misstep a seller would make. Rarely did I see anyone propose a solution. Instead, it was a game of who made what mistake and how they would put them on a performance plan if they did it again. After I left the company and was out of the blame culture for a while, I realized the only reason everyone expected sales to be perfect and spent so much time pointing fingers at us was because they weren't sure how to fix their own issues. Our support team was extremely inefficient for an operations team, and the majority of senior leadership had spent most or all of their career at this company and only knew one way to do things. Even as the business evolved, they grew up in the blame culture, and that's all they knew. I tell you all of this to say, it's not you, it's them. It's not that mistakes won't happen. You're going to make them. It's that you need to know they will happen. You need to own them when they do and be confident in taking a risk. I've made a ton of mistakes in my career, front of the client, internal navigation, even with my own career path. The sooner that I own it, the less important it becomes to the person that was hurt by my mistake. We talk a lot about separating from outcomes when it comes to things like client proposals and quota. This is another opportunity to separate. Don't think, what will happen internally if I mess up? Instead, spend time to ensure you are prepared. You have an understanding of what's at stake and be confident knowing you are doing all you can to bring success to your client and your career. Sellers who aren't afraid to fail loudly and learn quickly become untouchable. When you stop acting like an order taker, terrified of your manager's dashboard, you evolve into a strategic peer to your buyers. Perfection is a myth. Authentic resilience is the ultimate enterprise advantage. That's it for this episode of the Sales Zen podcast. Subscribe so you don't miss any other episodes, and check out saleszenmedia.com to see how we can work together to build authentic alignment for your ad sales team.